Today we'd like to talk about the through-the-bit grouting plug system. Gone are the days where you have to pull your rod string in order to prepare the system for grouting a hole for wedging, grouting purposes, or any other need to lock water intake into the borehole. MBI would like to introduce the through-the-bit grout plug assembly. How does this work? It's a very simple system. You start out with your standard head assembly, inner tube assembly that you are running your regular coring program with, and you're at the bottom of the hole, and it's necessary to grout the hole for wedging applications or pulling back to block an intake of water, whatever the situation may be. Basically, what you do is you take your standard inner tube assembly, you measure the operating length, your set length from your core case to your landing shoulder. And what we do is we introduce an adapter that goes onto the bottom end of your standard head assembly. So you're simply removing the lower bearing assembly. And from there, we retain the landing shoulder, remove the lower assembly, and replace it with the grout plug assembly, the inner tube cap adapter. You still require the landing indicator ball, which is a necessary component. Place your landing shoulder. Lock up the assembly as you would normally on a regular head. Then you have your inner tube, whether it be a 3 meter length or 1.5 meter or extended barrel. You have measured your length, so you know your set length for your operating tube. So you've established distance from the end of your core case to your landing shoulder point. So what you have to do is you take your inner tube and you remove your core case. We replace it with this adapter, which is a smooth bore. This helps facilitate the plug as it goes through your bit. It's a necessary component. So you replace your standard core case onto the bottom of your inner tube. Now you have your inner tube with core case assembly, and you have your upper head assembly with inner tube cap adapter. Now what we want to do is load the grouting plug system. So the first thing you must do is you take your grout plug, the grapple, enter it into your inner tube assembly, remove the tie, put your assembly down. You take your adapter, which is a cone shape adapter, fasten it to your inner tube. Now you take the seal portion, which is a threaded adapter, thread it onto the end of your grapple. Lubricate with a linseed oil or similar biodegradable oil to allow the seal to slide through the loading chamber. Now you adapt your loading adapter for your water flow to the head. You simply attach your water supply, and using a very slow, low pressure, you apply water pressure to the head, which will push the seal component through the adapter, compressing it and putting it inside of your inner tube assembly. The water will jet out, showing that the seal has reached its landing indicated point. So once you've pumped the seal through to this point, it's compressed down inside of your inner tube. You get a water bypass that's told you that you've finished the process. At that moment, you take the assembly off. Now in this case, the cap, when you take this off, this seal will be inside of the tube. So now you can imagine that when I've taken this off, I now have the grout plug assembly inside of the tube, but with the seal compressed inside. So if I take this off, now you can imagine that you have this assembly along with this assembly that's constricted down inside of the tube. Now you take that assembly, regular inner tube assembly with your grout plug assembled inside, attach it to your inner tube cap replacement. Lock it all up. Recalculate that your length setting is the same as it was for your last core run. You have your landing indicator ball set for indication. Lower it down into your rod string. Pump the complete inner tube assembly to the bottom of the hole until it lands like normal. You will get a landing indication, just as if you were coring. At that point, you continue slowly increasing your pressure until you see the water pressure drop, which tells you that you have pushed the seal assembly with the grout plug through the bottom of the core lifter case, through the bit, out past the crown. At the moment that the seal ejects from the end of the tube, it deploys the seal. You'll see a drop in your water pressure, and you retrieve your tube, and you've now successfully plugged your hole for grouting operation. Simple as that.